Hello, my friends. Today we'll jump right in. The Russians haven't stopped the Shalin. Yesterday there was a tragic strike on Sumy, and by last night reports were already coming in about 10 Shahed drones hitting toward Odesa. Now, let's briefly go over the situation along the front line. We'll start with the Kursk direction. Here, the Russians continue pushing toward the border, launching over 20 assaults in the past day. But since the liberation of the village of Huiva, they haven't had any new successes, and Ukrainian forces are still holding the defense as much as that's still possible. At the same time, the Russians keep claiming new, albeit small, gains in the Sumy region every day. They're still trying to push through toward Yunakivka, aiming to reach the rear of our troops. However, the Ukrainian side hasn't confirmed these advances yet, so we're waiting for official statements. In the Belgorod direction, the situation remains difficult. Shelling of the Sumy region continues, despite the fact that Ukrainian military isn't advancing into Russian territory. Meanwhile, there are no changes in the Midovka and Popovka. We are not seeing any new footage of FPV drone strikes in that area, so for now, there are no updates there. In the Kharkiv direction, Russian forces continue launching new attacks. They've begun probing Ukraine's defense and even attempted an assault on the village of Perovske near the border. So far, they managed to advance about 1.5 kilometers from the border before being pushed back by Ukrainian forces. Whether more attempts will follow remains unclear. We're watching closely, but it's obvious that the Russians are trying to stretch Ukraine's military along the border. Interestingly, this mirrors what Ukraine aimed to do with its push into Russia's Belgorod region. Now let's move to the Pokrovsk direction. Here, the intensity of shelling remains high, though the number of assaults has slightly decreased, around 30 attacks in the past 24 hours. Russian forces are trying to push toward Novoalexandrivka and Novosergiyevka and continue assaults near Kotline, Chunishine, Lysivka, and Yelizavetivka, as well as advancing near the highway. The Russian Ministry of Defense even claimed yesterday that they fully captured Yelizavetivka. However, no independent confirmations of this has surfaced so far, only their statements. In the Kurakhove direction, Russian forces continue attacking Kotlarivka, Preobrazhenka, and Troitsk. They are also assaulting the area around Konstantinopel and Shalin Rozliv. No territorial changes have been recorded over the past 24 hours, and the situation remains difficult. The number of attacks shows no signs of decreasing. Near Velika Novosilka, fighting is currently focused around the village of Burlatske. So far, Russian troops have made no major progress and haven't been able to advance toward Shevchenko, despite earlier claims that they had entered the outskirts. This information hasn't been confirmed, and the front line remains unchanged for now. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, Russian forces are assaulting Mali-Sherbaki, but they haven't managed to fully capture the village. The front line remains unchanged over the past 24 hours. In the Kherson direction, the Russians continue advancing on the islands and shelling Kherson. However, they haven't achieved any major breakthroughs, and further advances have so far been unsuccessful. Now to the Toretsk direction, where today's combat activity is second only to Pokrovsk. Russian forces are trying to regain lost positions in Sherbinivka and Toretsk and are launching assaults on Dachne and Delivka. Heavy shelling continues across the area, and fighting is also ongoing for Kalinove despite repeated Russian claims of full control. Yesterday, Russian sources began saying their forces were advancing past Valentinivka across the fields toward the highway, but so far there is no video confirmation, only claims. The gray zone in the area has reportedly expanded, so we are waiting official confirmation. In the Chasiv Yar direction, Russian troops are attacking the city center, Pretechene, and pushing toward Bilahora. Despite the heavy shelling and constant assaults, there have been no changes over the past 24 hours. All attacks have been successfully repelled. In the Siversk direction, Russian forces are assaulting Grigorivka and Bilohorivka. However, activity remains low here, just a few attacks per day. All assaults have been successfully repelled and the front line remains unchanged. In the Leman direction, Russian troops continue storming Zarichne, Zelena Dolina, Lipove, and Novomykhailivka, with battles also ongoing near Katerynivka. Activity in this sector remains very high, with 18 assaults reported over the past 24 hours, yet no territorial gains have been made. Further north, Russian forces are maintaining pressure, continue assaults on Kharkivka, and attempting a breakthrough toward Olgivka. It's clear that they aim to stretch this part of the front as far forward as possible, but for now all attacks are being successfully repelled. In the Borova direction, Russian forces are assaulting Bohuslavka and Novokrogliakivka, while also attempting breakthroughs near Raigorodka toward Nadia and launching attacks on Novoyegorivka. However, Ukrainian defenders have successfully repelled all assaults in these areas and the front line remains stable over the past 24 hours. In the Kupiansk direction, the Russians continue shelling, but no significant assaults have been observed. Previous attacks yielded no gains for the Russian forces, and the front line remains unchanged. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.